Hello and welcome to Mr. Linford's math course. In today's discussion, we are going to sort of review the techniques of factoring that we've been going over. In particular, we're going to review all the methods for factoring polynomials that we've covered in our series of talks, and then we're going to try to organize them into a way to help us better determine when to choose which method to factor a polynomial by. Really, when it comes to choosing a method, it all comes down to knowing the size of the polynomial, because each size of the polynomial determines which method to use. So I'm going to go through the list of all of the techniques we have, and I'm going to try to match them up with what size polynomials we can use the methods for. So first off, we learned about the GCF, the greatest common factor. When you are simplifying a polynomial by a GCF, you can essentially pull a GCF out from any number of terms as long as it exists. So basically, for any type of polynomial you have, there might be a GCF. So the GCF form of factoring might work for binomials, trinomials, four-term, etc. By the way, I'm stopping at four-term because that's really the highest number of terms that we work with in this class. Now, grouping. Grouping, as well as the alternative form of grouping that we learned about, really only works for four-term polynomials. The box method, where we did the box method in reverse, that worked for trinomials. In particular, trinomials of leading coefficient of 1. So that's LC is 1. Now, the AC method was used, again, specifically for trinomials, but in this time, the leading coefficient was not equal to 1, okay? So the box method and the AC method, those were specifically for just trinomials. Grouping was specifically for just four-term polynomials. Now, the sum and difference of squareds and the sum and difference of cubes, that was specifically for just binomials. Okay? That formula only works when you're adding two squareds, subtracting two squareds, or adding or subtracting two cubes. So these only work for the binomials. Now, one of the last topics we discussed was substitution, and now substitution was a weird case. We said substitution really worked when the thing that you were simplifying was of the form of a trinomial. So I guess I could check that it works for trinomials, but really I want to say of the form for a trinomial. So that's when we use the situation. Hopefully you can see how each of these methods that we learned really work for different types of polynomials. So if you're given a particular type of polynomial, whether it's a four-term, a trinomial, or a binomial, you can better choose which method to use. For example, if I gave you a four-term, you would immediately just say, well, I would need to group that if you're given a four-term. Maybe you could also say that a GCF exists there. Now, if I gave you a trinomial, something of a three-term, you could say it might have a GCF, or I could use box method or AC method for it. Hopefully you're recognizing that these methods fit what size the polynomial is, and you're feeling more comfortable with these different techniques. If you have any questions about the overall methods or even a specific method in general, feel free to let me know. My email is klinford, that's KLINFORD, at wccnet.edu. Let me know if you have any questions about all the topics of factoring or something in particular I could go over or anything I can better help you with your understanding of. And until next time, take care.